Severance Season 2 predictions. Spoiler warning.
Everyone, welcome back to AsArt with Nick, John, and our expert Kyle. So we're going to be talking, definitely spoilers like Nick said. We're going to talk about what we think might happen in Season 2 of Severance. Obviously, do we know? No. Are we going to see more Christopher Walken? Yeah, we probably are. But anyway, we're getting all that. Yeah, check out Pecos with a Zero for Kyle's awesome Instagram artwork, and check out AsArt.space for all the different content we do for the channel. And let's jump on in here.
Just so you guys know, we cover shows from HBO Max, Apple TV. We also have been doing Paramount Plus, so we've been covering a variety of different shows. Subscribe to get all the updates.
We're trying to run the gamut here.
Yes, we're covering everything. No, not everything. All right, guys. Prediction time. So, where do we start? Where should we start? With Mark S? Yeah, let's just start with Mark, because I feel like Mark has the most. Like, we got to just get rid of the big guy.
The big kahuna. Yeah.
Oh, do you want me to jump in from there? I thought you guys were gonna.
I was like, I know Kyle's got things to say.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm really curious what the repercussions are going to be for Mark, especially now that he has the knowledge of his wife is alive in some capacity as Miss Casey, right? Because it kind of brings a bit more. It brings a bit more meaning to their last meeting, right? Before they pulled the operation, right? So I kind of want to say that we're going to have their former romance, or maybe them reconnecting in some way. I think.
In Season 2, you think?
Yeah.
Potentially?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe find out a bit more. That Miss Casey actually is a clone. They have a cloning program.
I think that's one of the biggest things I'm curious about, is to actually find out what happened to her. Was she somehow brought on that program? She is, still, herself as far as her original person, or she is cloned. I mean, send her back down to testing. That makes it sound like she's, something other than herself maybe. But it seems like Irvin's been down there too. So there's all kinds of different questions there. The big thing I'm curious about with Mark, is, and we'll go back to the wife, because that's a very important kind of topic. But for me, the big thing I'm curious about is what the repercussions of him talking to his sister are, because Harmony, or whatever name you want to call her, she knew that his sister and Mark talked. Like the other, Irving, they don't know if he's going to talk to Bert. At this point, we know that he's going to snap back to his Outie self, and so he's not going to be able to. The rest of the people, they don't know if anything was talked about or not. They know that Mark. So now we're going to get a hint at like how evil is Lumen. I mean, they're culty, but are they like willing to kill people culty, or are they just thinking they're doing the right thing, but they're not? Like, that's going to be an interesting thing for me, is like, okay, are they going to kill Rickon and the sister and all this crazy stuff? Are they gonna have to go into hiding and, all this stuff? Like, for sure they'll go after Mark, because, Petey was, running for his life. We don't know if that's justified or not, but he was running for his life. And so now we're going to get to kind of see, like, okay, we're going to get a better glimpse into how deep this rabbit hole goes with Lumen.
Yeah, that's actually, that's going to be really telling, right? How they deal with their loose ends.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Because we know Mark also has a contact too, because he has Petey's old contact.
Right.
So
which we haven't seen her again. Yeah.
We haven't seen her again, but she said that she was going to find him, kind of thing. And this may be the perfect time to find him now, because like, if he does get the procedure, obviously, because remember, Petey wasn't doing what she was saying. Remember, like there was like a protocol and he was like kind of going off of it, but Petey was also alone. And he didn't have anyone, where Mark has his family now. So it's not like he's going to be going through this process alone. Like, it might be, it's like one of those things where it could maybe be a little bit more of a stable situation. If that even happens to him next season, we don't know, because he may just go the whole season just being an Outie and not going back into being an innie. Or if they flip the switch on him randomly. Because remember, there was all those other programs. You had Elephant, you had Clean Slate, so who knows what they can activate from the outside too? Because he can get like wiped completely and just be like oh, hey, what are you guys doing here? You know, it goes back to
I
these original
completely
points.
forgot about
So-
that. Yeah, because there was a lot of fun talk about that in the comments video for the last episode about like these different protocols. And Nick and I had thrown on the ideas. Those could be just for fun world building. We're never going to see them referenced again, or we're going to see a lot of it. Like we don't know. That's a good point that we hadn't thought about. Yeah, that's going to be a really, really fun whole thread. And you know what I loved about this last episode? It felt almost like a heist. It was almost like the what was it? The
Ocean's 11 or Italian
yeah,
Job?
well,
Or
that's exactly what I was going to say. I was thinking Italian Job, but also like Ocean's 11. We're like they're trying to pull something off, and these first episode or two of this next season may actually feel like that a little bit. I do like the whole idea of like the office space and the weirdness going down there. I'm sure we're going to get back to that because that's
most
a huge
definitely.
thing that everybody loves. But at the same time, I really liked this last episode. Maybe just because it was a change up and it was leading up to this climax for the season. But I wouldn't mind a little bit more of that either.
So
he might want to go back in to see his wife though.
Yeah.
right.
If he knows his wife is alive, he's like, I have to go back. Like the only way I can see her is by going in this way, or that might be his cause. And then one other thing I want to bring up about the accident, we don't know if she was alone or with someone when the car crashed, right?
Yeah, I don't
Right.
know if we've gotten that
because
information or not.
technically she could have been kidnapped or whatnot, and they could have crashed the car, whatever,
Right.
burned body or whatever they had to do, or if they are cloning or have DNAs, who knows what kind of crazy stuff they got going on at Lumen to fake things or do things to whatever cause and stuff like that. So, but anyways, go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry, I saw you had a great thought.
I don't know if it's a great thought, but to that effect, you can easily fake a car crash and say no one survived, especially as they've mentioned multiple times before, Lumen does have ties to the police, right? So they could easily fake something and just keep that person at Lumen, right, as an employee, right? Because that's the thing I've realized that maybe it's on purpose, but people conflate themselves as two separate individuals from their innie and their outie. They compartmentalize who they are as their identity, but they're the same body, right? They're still the same person in the sense, but they're split from that device, right? So I don't know, like I think maybe something like that happened with Miss Casey. And then for my crazy prediction, I think we're going to see Devin walking the halls of Lumen as an employee pretty soon in season 2.
Really?
She knows too much. She's one of the people that knows too much. And knowing how adversarial she is, she's probably gonna, she might be a stick in Miss Cobell's craw.
But the kid, you think? I guess it's fine if you have kids, because I guess Dylan has a kid, but like it's like when it comes to like breastfeeding and taking care and having a mom there and stuff like that, that's gonna be. But like Rickon is so against it.
Right.
I mean, that would be, but
That's true.
who knows though? Like we really don't know. Like at this point, how much power they have. And if they kidnapped Miss Casey or did whatever to Miss Casey, it can be something just as easy as like, I mean, their house is a cabin in the woods. Like there's like no one around for like it's like the easiest place to take someone and not like. But that's not a laughing matter. It's serious. I mean,
abduction is not a laughing matter.
but okay. So Heidi R. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think? I mean, it looked like. She's just like, no, get me out of here. Like she's willing to, like she's just like, no, this is like, very, very bold.
She's a real go-getter, that one.
Harmony's whole, backstage speech to her, I was really curious to see if she was going to go out and actually say that or not, and she went right out there. She was phased. She was concerned. She's like, I'm going to burn your company down. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was a really cool moment for her as a character. But at the same time, it's like, man, I'm really curious to see how she's going to respond when her regular, Lumen family self snaps back in like mother effer. Like I can't wait to see how that's gonna go. Like that's
they're gonna do something. I mean, they're gonna spin it in whatever PR way they can, right? Like
Yeah.
as it is, like it's like, oh, your innie tried to kill you. Your innie's so evil. Like when he was like talking to, remember her? He's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
I
of
can't
course,
believe I was so like with the innie. It's just, but it's like who knows how they're gonna twist it with your innie, and maybe that's like the innie and like your separation. It's like getting rid of the evil. I don't know if this is like a religious thing, but it's like separating like the bad self from the good self kind of thing.
I think you're right, Nick. We're going to see the PR fallout is going to be far less than what it's going to mean personally for Helly, right? And also like her Outie, right? Like I'm actually very curious now if this kind of opens up her Outie's perspective outside now, because we've seen both innies and Outies, but not Helly's Outie, except we get a hint of it because now she's out in the world, right? And they think, it's her. So,
and it was really interesting too, because in the book from Apple, what was it called? The Linux files?
the Lexington papers.
The Lexington. Okay. But so the bus driver, spoilers just in case if you haven't read it, I'm just going to talk on it briefly. She had a secret code she used to use as a child.
Puglish.
Right. No, but remember she had like when she was a kid.
Yeah, it was called Puglish.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying something. I'm like,
oh no, sorry.
no.
Kyle, what are you doing?
I was a little confused here. There's a little bit of delay. But like, so it was very interesting because after Severance, the innies have a very childlike mind, right? And as we can kind of see, so it just naturally gravitated towards this childlike language where it was like using images for words and stuff. And then she would find the images in her pocket and she was able to communicate with her innie and outie. So I'm curious which of the four is going to be able to communicate with themselves, because I feel like you can't keep going unless one starts to communicate. Is it Mark? Does he have a cool way of communicating? Is it going to be Heidi R? And we know she's tried before, like writing stuff on her arms and stuff.
I think it's going to be Helly because she's got that like try that can do attitude. Like one day I'm going to crack the code,
So, and I'm also curious, like we kind of get that Irving has like a military background. So I wonder if he's going to have some kind of cool encryption way of, like maybe some military, because as it is, his paintings, memories and feelings and stuff are coming through pretty strong. And we even see the ink dropping, right? Like when he goes through his like weird, like zone out phases and stuff, like it feels like he for sure has more leakage of personality and stuff than even Mark. Because I feel like Mark, when he sees the candle, he's not reacting to the candle. When he sees his wife, he's not reacting. But when Irving looks at a painting, it's like, this full expression comes out. You know what I mean? Like, and you could just tell maybe because we also know he's been there longer too. So maybe the longer you're there, it kind of wears off or your mind starts to adapt or something like that too.
That's true. I never thought of that. Maybe that's why he has that affinity for design and optics, right? Is because of that artistic side of him kind of comes out still with his innie. Yeah.
So I'm just really curious. I don't know if Dylan's capable of doing that, but we haven't really met his outie yet. So we have no idea how smart he is on the outside or whatever. Because like in the letters, it was a bus driver. And, we know Mark was a history teacher and, so we kind of get a background on everything. So I'm just kind of like, oh, where are they going to go with this? Come on. And what other departments are we going to see?
Ooh, yeah. I really want to know about the goat department. What's that called?
The goat department? It's interesting because I don't know how much we're going to see for a while because I would imagine they're going to be in so much trouble. And then also, if they're implanting this thing because of, non-disclosure stuff and, kind of confidentiality, they broke every, thing they probably signed, with Lumen. And I imagine, it's like they're going to be, the cool quote I remember at the beginning that Harmony, Mrs. Cobell had kind of said was like, humans can construct any hell that, that they can think of. And I feel like you're going to get a lot more of that this season. And it's going to be, they tried to lock him down before. It's like they're going to be completely locked down now. And I feel like now that the company knows, as a wide Lumen company, that they had this huge leak with Haley, I feel like they're going to be watching them very closely. If they still have a skeleton crew on them, they deserve to crumble and fall apart because they obviously have security problems at this point. So I don't know how they would actually make any moves after this, because I mean, everything they were doing, was kind of figured out. Like, okay, clearly they were doing this, that, and the other. And so I don't know how season 2 actually becomes as not interesting, but how they're going to have any wiggle room to do their things. Because the way they were able to develop their momentum is because there was a skeleton crew of so few people. One person was killed, the other person was out sick, and, all this type of stuff. It's like, how are they going to work this? It's going to be very interesting. But man, if season 2 is anything like this first season, it's just going to be, just fun to see how this all, the magnificence of the writing.
Yeah.
We'll see how that comes out.
I think we're going to see an uptick of ingenuity in both the innies and outies since this whole event has happened, right? Like there's going to be something where they're going to, of course, Lumen's going to cast a wide net. They're not going to catch everything, right? We know that, right? So very curious where those holes in that net's going to show up. Right.
And then for the goats, you think the goats are all clones?
The goats are sacrifices.
See, I said that before too. I think they were sacrifices, but do you think they're clones of one certain goat? Because they're all like babies. So if it is a cloning thing,
technology, yeah.
So if they're testing on goats is like their whole thing, and they're like, well, we're gonna kill them anyways when we sacrifice them.
Right.
Let's just clone them.
And there was a comment. I don't think we read it in our comments video, but it was a long comment about like cloning processes or pharmaceuticals or something like that. And it was breaking down like what red represents, what yellow represents, and what blue represents. And it was a lot of really fun information. And they were going into like, if they're following this thing that's established real medical world stuff, this would give you a lot of insight into what's actually going on. It was really cool.
Like in terms of genetic sequencing, kind of?
Well, I think in episode 1, when they were at the dinner table and they were like questioning Mark, like, oh, I can't believe you got this procedure. They're like, yeah, it started as pharmaceuticals and then it went to technology. Like I remember them talking about like the history of the company. Like they're like, oh, it went to pharmaceuticals, history. So they have
that's what the comments started off answering. It was like, oh, this is the history. Sorry, continue. But I did remember they started answering like because you and I were talking about what the history of Lumen was. And like, I can't remember, what did they do? And then the person answered that, and then they went into detail on that. So whoever you are, if you're listening to this video, I apologize. I don't have this pulled up right now, but it was a really cool, detailed response.
I do like those comments where there's a lot of meat, just a lot of
just a lot to read.
A lot of protein.
Yes. So one thing, I totally forgot the biggest part of the Lexington papers that I think we're going to see in season 2 is the fact that whatever macro data refinement is doing when they complete a file has real world consequences. So
that's right.
At the end, at the end of the Lexington papers, the woman that eventually died, she made a connection or had a hypothesis that whatever they complete, like once they complete 100% of a file, that something causal happens in the real world. So she noticed that at 2:30, she completed the Sienna file, right? She got 100% on it. And it was a big hullabaloo, right? And they congratulated her. It's like, yes, you're doing great work. And then she noticed that in the news, she saw that a truck bombing had occurred in New York, right? And this was a bombing of, I forget the name of the pharmaceutical company, but it was a main rival of Lumen, right? And it had all this fallout. And she noticed, she's like, I couldn't help but notice the bombing happened at exactly 2:32 p.m. And she's like, and you start to see she has this dawning horror that they're doing something that affects the real world in some way, in this espionage kind of way that's pretty scary. So I think we might see a situation like that. That might be one of the main things.
How evil they are.
Yeah.
The company.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting if why would you need to have people with the Severance chip in order to do that, though, if it's so cryptic and unintelligible?
Think about it, though. It's never going to get leaked.
Yep. Got to
No, but that's what I mean, though. I mean, you could have regular people that don't have the Severance procedure doing that, and they have no idea what they're doing anyway, though. I mean, is it so necessary to do that?
Maybe their mind has to be in that childlike state to feel emotions or something like that, too. Like, because
Huh.
maybe
It's kind of fun. It reminds me of I don't know if you guys have ever seen or read about the movie's called Imitation Game, but it's about trying to crack the code for the other side of the war,
or
the
something like that?
Enigma code. Yeah,
Yeah.
Enigma code. And wait, is that Imitation Game?
No,
Am I
you're thinking of
movie?
the one with Cumberbatch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, but I might have the title.
So
wrong.
like
Sorry,
how they
guys. But yeah.
created a computer to crack the code, basically, and that's how
Yes,
computers
and
were eventually created, because it had to find the numbers to crack the code every time they
And
would
it
get
almost seems like they're doing that manually, which again seems bass backwards from having people doing this over again because they feel something. I'm like, okay, I don't need to make sense of this, but whatever. Just
But if it is
keep
a
making
religious
fun
thing
stories,
or
yeah.
a cult thing too, maybe that's like those feelings that are pushed down. Like these feelings are going to generate a certain type of thing in the universe or in whatever. Who knows how deep it
That's
can
the
go.
thing. There's
so.
a lot to be said about human intuition,
Mhm.
right? And maybe that's why, like Nick's saying, right? Like why they have them in that why they're in that childlike state to begin with is children sort of have a sort of intuition about specific things, right? That adults kind of lose over time, right? Specific and like it could be about like in order to do this type of work, it requires that sort of uninhibited intuition.
Mm.
I don't know. But I don't know
Well,
why. Like,
Well, like
you know,
even in the Bible, right? Doesn't it say like you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven or something like that too?
oh,
Yeah. So like so if the religious themes carry over or something like that, it's like this idea of innocence that can be, but maybe after a while the innocence fades, like Bert, and then they have to retire Bert. So
I want to see a big bingo grid drawn and see the goats pick out the numbers, like goat bingo, and they figure out how to.
This sounds
That
like
would be-
This sounds like the manatee balls joke from South Park. How Family Guy writes jokes. The manatees pick up random balls and put them in an order, and whatever the order falls, that's the Family Guy joke.
actually, you know what?
Yeah.
That would be the biggest postmodern joke ever. Just like, hey guys, guess what? It means nothing. It's all made up. Like, who cares? Like, nothing means anything anymore. Like, it's just like,
Oh, that's so
wow.
awesome. But gosh, what a great season. Like me and
Yeah.
John always
Yeah.
talk about like Westworld season 1 is one of our favorite like seasons of television. Like we're like, oh, we loved
Yeah.
Westworld season 1, but this is right up there. Like I really enjoyed this whole season. It was shot beautifully. The acting was fantastic. I liked the music. I liked the VFX that were in it, even though they weren't like, they were all subtle. They were very beautifully done. Like it was a great show. Thank you so much for recommending this to us in all of our Raised by Wolves comments.
It
We at
is
least got
truly
Severance in every single
great.
video. So
Yeah, that was one of the big things about this. I'm glad Nick mentioned it because I wanted to throw it out too. Is that one of the reasons I think Nick and I love this so much is not only was it right up our alley as far as the type of content we like, but as we're covering Raised by Wolves, like, hey guys, season is starting to wind down. Like, we'd love to cover something. Like, you guys need to, before we even ask that, they're like, you guys need to check out Severance. This is right your wheelhouse. Crazy theories, but really good content.
are we
At first we were
innies
like-
and people could just read us like an open book? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Am I a baby goat? Is that what you're saying? Oh my gosh, Nick's hairy like goat.
Wow. I have a goatee. No.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much for recommending this show. It's been great fun for us to watch it and then just get to comment and have conversations about it. And one of the things we're thrilled about is, like was mentioned, and it was based on another comment we got in a previous video, is that they've been actively shooting and are pretty much done with principal photography for season 2. There's obviously the whole post-production process, which is a big, lengthy, important process. But like, hey, we don't even know if season 3 of Raised by Wolves is greenlit yet. So this is probably going to be coming
Dang.
way sooner and going to be really, really
If
fun.
not,
So we're
Kyle's
really
going to
looking
write
forward
a
to this.
letter.
A strongly worded letter, let me tell you.
That's right. So we're really pumped about this stuff. As when it comes to theories, this is where we love the community. The episodes we've covered for Severance, everything that happened was covered by the community, and what you guys threw out there as theories. So please down below, let us know what you think. What do you think is going to happen? Crazy theories are more than welcome. If you guys want to get into crazy theory territory and fun story content with, well, it's still sci-fi, but different type of sci-fi, definitely check out Raised by Wolves. We've covered all of season 1 and season 2. Really fun comment
HBO
videos,
Max.
really fun conversations. HBO Max. looking for more shows always, so please leave down comments below other things you guys would like us to check out.
I feel another
Definitely got
poll
some good
coming up.
recommendations. Ooh. So let us know. Check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video content we release here. Check out Peckles with a Zero for Kyle's awesome Instagram artwork. Really, really cool stuff. A huge variety of artwork.
And
too.
designing
really, really cool stuff.
designing shirts too. Good job, Kyle.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
check that stuff out as well, you guys. Thank you very much for watching and for listening. We're looking forward to the comments, and we'll be putting out some more videos based on the comments, so please keep them flowing in, and we'll look forward to you on the next AsArt. Goats.